Piaf was born, apparently, there's a lot of apparentlys in her life story. She was born apparently on a policeman's cloak outside the building where her mother lived. Now, her mother was a street singer, and she was a very young woman when she had Edith, and Edith's early life was full of trauma and movement. She was fed on red wine and water to keep her quiet in her bottle. Her father was called Gaston, the great Gaston, who was an acrobat, and he used to perform on the streets. And when he found out that Piaf had been drinking wine and water in her bottle, he dispatched her off to his mother's house in Normandy. And that was the whorehouse. So that's where she spent the first few years of her life, being watched over by these whores. And when her mother told her father what was happening, he quickly went down to Normandy and brought her up, and she started her life with him as a street singer. She started singing on the street at the age of 7. Hardly believable, is it? But the first song she started singing was the French anthem, and she sang it a cappella, the Marseillaise. I will be passing the hat around afterwards. By the age of 7, she'd grown up with prostitutes. She became blind. She had probably a case of conjunctivitis, which rendered her blind and unable to see. And she maintains it was God's way of protecting her from all those things that a 7-year-old shouldn't be seeing. She became very religious at a very early age, and she loved and adored Sainte Thérèse of Lisieux, and she wore a cross in memory of Sainte Thérèse of Lisieux. She went with the prostitutes to Lisieux to pray for her sight, and when she went there, she was cured of the blindness which she maintained to be there for several years, but it was probably just a few months. She maintained that that time in the darkness allowed her to feel and see songs in a different way, in a different capacity to any normal other singer. Well, she wasn't a normal singer anyway. She started her life on the streets. And she ran away from her father at the age of about 12. She realized that if she could make money for her father, she could make money singing on the streets with her friend, her half-sister, Maman. So that's where she started her career, really. Singing on the streets with her half-sister, Maman, and they used to be singing under the Paris skies. They would catch up by dustbins, and they would sleep under the Paris skies. And this song is called Sous le ciel de Paris. Thank you, Sharon. Sous le ciel de Paris s'envole une chanson. Elle est aujourd'hui dans le cœur d'un garçon. Sous le ciel de Paris marchent les amoureux. Piaf had lived to be the age that I am, she would also have been wearing glasses. So, forgive me for these. So, she lived on the street. She kept the company of some very devious and strange undesirables. And she had nothing. She lived from day to day. She lived in abject poverty. She lived every single day was what she earned. And I can understand what that's about because I was a busker in Belgium for many, many years, back in the early 80s. And this is when I came to learn about Edith Piaf. And I didn't know what was going to come into my basket the next day. And this is how she existed. She went out, she sang, she went, and she drank away her earnings. This song is called La Galante de Pauvres Gens, and it is about the reality of life for poor people in Paris. They had nothing. But if they had love, they had everything. So, this is La Galante de Pauvres Gens. At the age of 17, Edith Piaf met a young man who shone shoes. He didn't make lots of money. In fact, he was poor, just like Edith Piaf. Petite Louise. And she had an affair with him. She had lots of affairs. She was quite a man's woman, in fact. She loved men. She had hundreds of them. And this song is a song about what happened one day. She was singing on the street, and Petit Louis was looking after the child that they'd had. The baby was called Marcel, and Marcel had meningitis and was taken into the hospital. And meningitis at the age of 2 is incredibly dangerous. And this song is about how Piaf goes there and asks God, please let me have this child for just a while longer. They say that if you have meningitis, if you get to the 9th day, that all will be well. This was the 8th day, and Piaf is praying that all will be well. Got a bit of a confusion here, sorry. My fault. Okay, we're not singing Mon Dieu yet, we're singing Les Amants d'un jour, before we get to Mon Dieu. Les Amants d'un jour, these are one-night stands, and this song is about Piaf washing the dishes. She didn't actually wash the dishes, but she could have ended up washing the dishes. She decided to go and busk on the street, and this song is all about one-night stands. How these are the only things that were giving her any sunshine in her life. They carried her from one day to the next. And I have to say that unless the economy picks up, this is what I will be doing as well, washing dishes. Moi je suis les verres au fond de café. J'ai bien trop à faire pour pouvoir rêver. Et dans ce décor van à la marée, il me semble encore les voir arriver. Ils sont arrivés, se tenant par la main, vers un merveilleux et de chèvre. Portant le soleil, ils ont demandé d'une voix tranquille à ne toi pousser au cœur de la ville. Et je me rappelle qu'ils ont regardé un air attendri. La chambre d'hôtel au papier jauni. Et quand j'ai fermé la porte sur eux, il y avait tant de soleil au fond de leurs yeux. Que ça me fait mal, que ça me fait mal. Moi je suis les verres au fond de café. J'ai bien trop à faire pour pouvoir errer. Mais dans ce décor, on en a pleuré. C'est corps contre corps que les a trouvés. On les a trouvés, se tenant par la main, les yeux fermés vers d'autres matins. Remplis de soleil, on les a couchés, unis tranquilles, dans un lit creusé, au cœur de la vie. Je me rappelle avoir réformé dans le petit jour la chambre d'hôtel des amants d'un jour. Mes yeux m'ont planté au fond de la cœur, un cœur de leur soleil et tant de couleur. Que ça me fait mal, que ça me fait mal. Moi je file le verre au fond de café. J'ai bien trop à faire pour pouvoir rêver. Et dans ce décor, on a la pleurer. Il y a toujours des fois la chambre à louer. Merci, thank you. Now we are going back to Mon Dieu. So having had a one-night stand with Petit Louis, she ends up having a baby. The baby ends up having meningitis and is taken to the hospital where she is there. She's waiting the 8th day. She's waiting for the 9th day when she would be fine. Mon Dieu, she prays to God that she's allowed to have the baby for just one more day.
Mon Dieu,
Dieu, mon Dieu, laissez-le-moi encore un peu, mon amoureux. Suis-moi, montre-moi, fais-moi, laissez-le-moi ou seulement à moi. However, Marcel died. The baby didn't live, and this must have been a burden that Piaf carried her entire life. At the age of 17, she had a child, and at the age of 19, she was already a grieving mother. But the amazing thing about Piaf was she shook herself off, she picked herself up, and she carried on with life. And she was a very positive and very funny woman, and she loved having a laugh more than anything. And she was picked up on the street by Lulu, a male impersonator, and was taken to a cafe where she actually started performing professionally. And the first concert that she did, she wore a little cardigan that she hadn't finished dressing, she hadn't finished knitting. She knitted one arm and half the bodice, but not the other arm. And this is where she started her professional career. And this is where she got her name, La Mon Piaf, the Little Sparrow. And this song is about how she used to draw men into the cafe to buy drinks, to spend some time, and perhaps to go even further, who knows? This song is called Milor. Allez, venez, Milor, où s'asseoir un matin, il fait si froid dehors. Ici c'est confortable, laissez-vous faire, Milor, et prenez bien vos aises, vos peines sur mon cœur, et vos pieds sur le chèque, je vous connais, Milor, vous ne m'avez jamais vu, je suis qu'une fille. Oh, l'ombre de la rue, dire qu'il suffit parfois qu'il y ait un navire pour que tout se déchire quand le navire s'en va. Il amène avec lui la douce qui est si tendre qu'il n'a pas su comprendre qu'elle brisait votre vie. Allez, venez, Milor, on s'assoit à table, il fait si froid dehors. Ici c'est confortable, laissez-vous faire, Milor, et prenez bien vos aises, vos peines sur mon cœur, et vos pieds sur le chèque, je vous connais, Milor, vous ne m'avez jamais vu, je suis qu'une fille du port, l'ombre de la rue. Pourtant je vous ai frôlé quand vous passiez hier. Vous n'étiez pas revenu quand le ciel vous comblait. Votre foulard de soie, flottant sur vos épaules, vous a fait le beau. En aurait-il l'air roi? Allez, venez, Milor, vous asseoir à ma table, il fait si froid dehors. Ici c'est confortable, je vous fais Milor, et prenez bien vos aises, vos peines sur mon cœur, et vos Now, you may not know, but Piaf was particularly involved in the resistance movement. You may not be aware of that. But she used to go to the concentration camps, and she used to have her photograph taken with the prisoners. She would then come out, give the photographs to the resistance, who would make false papers, and then they would be smuggled back in by Edith Piaf into the prisoner of war camps. That was an immensely brave thing for her to do. Now, this is a song about the war, about an accordionist, about a streetwalker who was in love with an accordionist. And she goes to the cafe where the accordionist plays, and she sees his hands going up and down the accordion, and she's in love with him. And unfortunately he has to go away to war, but she has these dreams of being on the stage and having their own little cafe where she will be singing, he will be playing the accordionist. But unfortunately she ends up being solo and lonely on the street. There is just her. The accordionist doesn't come back from the war. L'accordioniste.
Qui lui remplit son âme, ensemble dans sa chair, elle s'embarrasse en tout, cherche un de rêve dans un mauvais faubourg. Son nom est un artiste, c'est un drôle de Piaf, un accordéoniste qui sait jouer la chanson. Sous de l'âge en main, et les doigts sur les langues de l'artiste. Sans elle a envie de chanter cette musique. Tout son être étendu, son soufflet suspendu, cette œuvre étendue de la musique. La vie joie est triste, au coin de la rue là-bas. L'accordéoniste, il est parti soldat. Quand il viendra de la guerre, il prendra une maison. Elle sera de la cassière, et lui fera attendre que la vie sera belle, il fend de vrais pachas. Et tous les soirs pour elle, il jouera. Elle écoute la java, mais elle ne l'ose pas, elle ne regarde même pas le liste. Et ses yeux amoureux sous les yeux de généreux, et les doigts dégainants de l'artiste. Ça lui tombe il va de rigueur, tout son être étendu, son soufflet suspendu, cette œuvre étendue de la musique. La fille de joie triste, au crâne la qui font la gueule, les âmes n'en veulent pas. Et tant pis si elle crève, son nom ne reviendra plus. Adieu, tous ces beaux rêves, sa vie est foutue. Pourtant ces jambes tristes l'amènent mourir. Oui, notre artiste qui joue de la nuit. Elle écoute la java. Elle a fermé ses yeux, les gars c'est qu'elle veut.
Piaf fell in love. Piaf fell in love so many times, so many times. And she did get married twice, in fact. She got married to somebody called Jacques Peel for the very first time, but it didn't last very long. And she got married in New York. She was starting to make big movements across the entire globe. She was incredibly popular in Japan. She started to make a big career for herself in America. Now, some of this was due to having to. She was picked up after Lulu's. She went and started singing in a nightclub and had a mentor called Papa Lepe. We all need a mentor. And Papa Lepe was Piaf's mentor. She was his protege and he was her mentor. And he helped her, he developed her, he created her image. And unfortunately, because of the rough sort of characters that she used to mix with, she told some information to somebody who ended up killing Papa Lepe. So she had to flee to America because of the bad publicity that she'd had, because she was involved in this scandal. It was said that she had brought Albert, the Algerian, into the environment where he found out about Papa Lepe. Whatever it wasn't good for her in France at that time, so she started performing in the south of America. She performed in Cuba, in various places such as Buenos Aires, also in New York. And this song is called You Make My Head Spin, and it's about some of the men that she fell in love with. Mon manège à main, you make me turn my head.
Tourner la tête, m'emmène à moi, c'est toi. Je suis toujours à la fête quand tu me prends dans tes bras. Je ferai le tour du monde, ça ne retourne pas plus tard. La terre n'est pas assez ronde pour tout dire autant de toi. Comme on est bien tous les deux, quand on est ensemble deux, il y en a tous les deux. Quand on s'aime comme vous deux, on est des planètes. Quand j'ai mon cœur près du tien, j'entends les vents dans la fête. Elle s'est rien pour rien. Take it away, Sean. Tourner la tête, m'emmène à moi, c'est toi. Je suis toujours à la fête quand tu me prends dans tes bras. Je ferai le tour du monde, ça ne tournerait pas de ça. La terre n'est pas assez ronde pour te dire autant toi.
She sang in Carnegie Hall, and that's a place I'd love to sing one day, but you can dream. Now, she fell in love, good and proper, when she was in America, in New York. She fell in love with the heavyweight champion boxer of the entire world. His name was Marcel Sardin. The fact that he was married with 3 children didn't seem to make much difference to Edith Piaf. She wanted him, and she got him. And she was prepared to wait as long as it needed. The fact that he had 3 children, again, was irrelevant. So, Marcel and Edith were in the same agency, and the agency which got them work, and they were both in America at the same time. He was performing in Madison Square Gardens in a bout, and she was performing in Carnegie Hall. And this beautiful song is called J'attendrai, I Will Wait.
Le jour et la nuit, j'attendrai toujours, tant et tout. J'attendrai car l'oiseau qui s'enfuit vient chercher le nid dans son nid. Le temps passe et court, on m'entend tristement dans mon cœur lourd. Et pourtant, j'attendrai, j'entrerai vous. Le jour et la nuit, j'attendrai, car l'oiseau qui s'enfuit vient chercher l'oiseau dans mon nid. Le temps passe et court, en battant tristement dans mon cœur lourd. Et pourtant, j'attendrai ton retour.
Now this song is one of the most beautiful love songs ever written. It's called La Vie en Rose, and it was sung by Edith Piaf in Coney Island when they were spotted by the paparazzi of the time. And they asked Edith Piaf to sing a song to Marcel Cerdan, and this is the song she sang to him, La Vie en Rose.
Sur sa bouche, voilà le portrait sans retouche de l'homme à quel j'appartiens. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit mon amour, des mots et tous les et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est rentré dans mon cœur une part de mon âme dont je connais la cause. C'est Des nuits d'amour infinis, un grand bonheur qui prend sa place. Mes amis de chacun se passent, heureux à mourir. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est rentré dans mon cœur une porte de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est lui pour moi, pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, un jour pour la vie. Dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur vivant.
Now, did she find love? Well, she found it, she lost it so many numerous times. She lost the love of her life, Marcel Cerdan. She asked him to come to her. She insisted on him coming to New York. When she was there, he was doing a competition in the other side of the globe, and he caught a plane to be with her, and the plane crashed in the Azores. The only way they could recognise his body was by the gold watch that he wore that Piaf had given him. And there are two stories in fact about this particular song. The first one is that she went onto the stage in Carnegie Hall just after she heard the news that Master Cerdan had died in his car crash, in the aeroplane crash, and sang this live on stage in Carnegie Hall. The other story that I particularly like about the story is that she went to mediums and tried to contact him to the other world, and some say that this song was given to her by Marcel Cerdan from heaven through a Ouija board, and that's how she came to be in possession of this song. I don't know. I like this version of the story. This song is called Millennium, and it talks about a love so great that not death separate two human individuals who love each other. Millennium. Immensité.
chez la lune, j'ai volé la fortune, si tout le monde demandait. Nous aurons pour nous l'éternité dans le ciel de l'immensité, dans le ciel de problèmes. Il y avait une liste qui full song. We're having tiny bit of trouble with the mic. If I go off mic, I'll just sing it a cappella. Okay, this is an absolutely stunning song that you may be aware of. It's called Autumn Leaves, very fitting for this time of the year. It's a time when we think about death, about reminiscing, and it is 50 years to the time that Edith Piaf died, and I, for one, wanted to celebrate her life. It was a full and joyous life, and she had very few regrets, I can assure you. But this final song but one, we've got 2 songs to go. This song is called Le Feuille Morte, Autumn Leaves. La feuille morte, ça ramasse à la veille. Tu vois, je n'ai pas oublié. La feuille morte, ça ramasse à la veille. Les souvenirs et les regrets aussi. Et l'abandonnant les hommes mortes. Dans la nuit froide de l'oubli. Toi, je n'ai pas oublié la chanson que tu m'as chantée. C'est une chanson qui nous ressemble. Toi qui m'aimais, moi qui t'aimais, nous vivions tous les 2 ensemble. Toi qui m'aimais, moi qui t'aimais, de la vie se marre, ceux qui s'aiment tout doucement, sans faire de bruit, et la mer passe sur le sable, les pas des amants, des unis. Ceux qui s'aiment tout doucement, sans faire de bruit, et la mer passe sur le sable, les pas des amants, des Thank you very much for joining me on this little journey. I told you a little bit about Edith Piaf's life, what she achieved. She was, in her time, the Madonna of the world. She earned thousands of pounds and she wasted it all. She spent it on others. But she had no regrets. And this is one song that you probably know. You may have heard it in adverts. You may have heard it your parents or your grandparents playing it on the gramophone, whatever. But this is one of those songs, it is quite iconic, and as I started the set with the French national anthem, I will finish the set with the second French national anthem, which you will probably regret. No, you won't regret. You won't regret, Heather Jones. You'll regret laughing. Can I just introduce before we finish? My accompanist, Sian Davis. It's the very first time that we performed this show together, so there may have been some slight hiccups, which I hope you didn't see. I knew about them. Don't worry, I'm going to give it a right ear bashing when we get back there, although most of them were my mistake. So the last song, which was performed, or in fact it was sung by all of the Algerian soldiers leaving Algiers when the French left Algeria. This song you do know. Je ne regrette rien. I hold no regrets apart from the fact that I ate far too many chocolates when I was young. Hence the hips. Thank you so much. J'ai allumé le feu.